Thank you, Honorable Member. As many? The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Central Grand Bahama.
Mr. Deputy, parliamentary colleagues, and those watching from across the length and breadth of the Bahamas and the world, good afternoon. I want to send a special Happy New Year to all Bahamians near and far. My distinguished colleagues, and of course the great people of Central Grand Bahama who I proudly represent in this place. We are nearing the end of January 2024, and it has already been an eventful year thus far, to say the least. Mr. Deputy, some water, please. I cannot go on without saying that the current state of crime in this country is totally unacceptable. With reports of multiple shootings almost daily and a whopping 17 murders in only 24 days, something has got to give. Mr. Deputy, we cannot get to the point where we allow this to become our new normal. I repeat, this is not normal for the Bahamas. This is an epidemic. And the FNM is not grandstanding on this issue. The FNM is standing on business, as the young people say, and we want the New Day government to get to the people's business. Mr. Deputy, we applaud the work of law enforcement who risk their lives to protect our country consistently. Every time they leave their home to go on the streets, their family don't know if they will return. We cannot deny the fact that people are indeed afraid. They don't feel safe in their own homes. Mr. Deputy, parliamentary colleagues, we can go back and forth for weeks on end, whether the issue is the parent or parenting, whether it's the school system, the unemployment rate, the police, the government, meaning the governing party and the opposition, and all other socioeconomic problems in between. At the end of the day, we must find a way to ensure the protection of the right to life. This is our duty as much as it is the duty of the police to investigate. I also plead, as I did previously in Grand Bahama, with the public to come forward with information and work with the police. If you see something, say something. If you know something, bring the information. I truly believe it will take a combined effort to get this issue to a place where Bahamians will feel safe once again. Mr. Deputy, as Nassau struggles to balance its safety issues, my beloved hometown of Grand Bahama, the economy is becoming even more unstable. We heard earlier from the member for East Grand Bahama about the issues now with the Margarita cruise ship from West Palm Beach. To add to that, the closure of Farmer Chem is such an unfortunate loss to Grand Bahama's commerce, and even worse for the directly over 140 plus employees that were directly impacted. I was also recently made to understand that some workers who have been working at that facility for some 15 plus years receive a minimal severance package, and further, I've been advised that some of these individuals may not even qualify for unemployment benefits based on our labor laws. Notice the Minister of Labor is not here, but that's something that we really need to look at. Mr. Deputy, I will get back to you on that. Okay, we'll be further investigate. But there's an individual who called me, and I will yield.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador.
Mr. Deputy Chair, I just wanted to put on record that the Ministry of Grand Bahama, along with the Deputy Prime Minister, shadowed by myself, was very instrumental to ensure that the workers at Pharmachem were properly and appropriately compensated with their separation package. I have an email from the CEO about it, who confirmed that all persons were properly taken care of. So if there's anyone, you suggested that there may be some that want, please provide me those names so that I can look into it to determine why it was that they were not taken care of as they ought to have been.
Okay, thank you very much for that, and I will provide a name to you, and I appreciate your offer to assist. As I've said it before in these chambers, that we must make sure that we are protecting Bahamian workers when allowing these foreign investors to come into our country to do business. We must make sure that they are protected, particularly for their years of dedicated work. Mr. Deputy, I also believe that this is a great time to have a real conversation about what Bahamianization means for this new generation. At this time, we are seeing some of the most proficiently skilled Bahamians in our country. And yet, in my view, we are underutilizing them. We are now looking at the culmination of the works of our nation builders. Like the great Dr. Elwood Donaldson, who we recently lost. May he rest in peace and one day rise in glory. Mr. Deputy, there's so much more to do. How are we building on this promise of the Bahamian dream of economic freedom and ownership for all Bahamians? When will we start looking at the bigger picture? Right now, the government is embroiled, we said, in a public spot with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Bahamians were told that there would be decisive actions on the model of governance for Grand Bahama moving forward. But they are still waiting and are even more confused when they see the negotiation going back and forth in the news. For God's sakes, and for the sake of the suffering people of Grand Bahama, have a face-to-face meeting. Sit in the conference room, in the boardroom, and let's come to some sensible decisions. Fighting back and forth in the media is proving to be more harmful than beneficial. Grand Bahamians need relief. Mr. Deputy, this is just one among many other issues our people are facing in what is considered our second city. The pipe bridge over the Fishing Hole Road is terrifying and considered a safety hazard to the vehicular public. And I went down there and I'd look at that contraption, and to say the least, it is scary. It looked like it was something that was done ad hoc. It wasn't properly planned out. There was no proper PSAs given to the public, and it just appeared one night. Adjustments need to be made, if only to give people a sense of safety as they go under that pipe bridge. But I do believe, Mr. Deputy, that all is not lost. Grand Bahamians are resilient, and there are some things in the pipeline, not that pipeline, that I believe will happen. We are looking forward to Carnival Cruise Port's completion. We're looking forward to the expansion of the shipyard and the pending 6 Cent project by the Weller Group. These investments are promising, but the main thing to effectively move the economic needle that will really cause Grand Bahama to rebound is a proper international airport. The success of all other investments in Grand Bahama hinges on a proper world-class airport. Let's get it done. Our Deputy Prime Minister made several announcements, and the people of Grand Bahama and the investors are anxiously awaiting the construction of this new airport, our main lifeline. I'll now speak to issues of the boaters in Grand Bahama. We had issues with the boaters not having a ramp to launch their boats in Grand Bahama. It's an issue. Boaters in general FNM, PLPs, DNAs, COI, all the boaters in this country are complaining about the boat licensing fees. I was happy to see the DPM saying that the fees will no longer be assessed. The question is, when will you come to Parliament with a public statement relative to the same, or changing the law back to its original state? Also, what will happen to those boaters who already paid those high fees? I had a friend said, he earned his living on the water. He has a workboat. His fees went from $250 to $7,500. These people want to do the right thing. They want to obey the law. But they're struggling to survive. They're struggling to support their families. Like I said, I'm happy to hear that we're doing it. When? We need to move, and we need to move now. Mr. Deputy, I will now turn my attention to the substantive debate on the Ombudsman Bill 2023. This bill is indeed a critical piece of anti-corruption legislation to foster more accountability and transparency of the public's affair. We in the FNM understand this because we were the ones who introduced a suite of anti-legislation bills during our time in office. So yes, we've been here before, and we believe that at any act of Parliament that promotes the fundamental rights and freedom of our country is indeed a good thing. So this is indeed a good move. Mr. Deputy, the bill in its current form establishes the office of the Ombudsman to investigate any administrative action of any public authority and determine whether there is evidence of, as we said earlier, maladministration. I want to focus on that word, which has been thrown around very carelessly and must be quantified with facts. Mr. Deputy, this level of organizational corruption hurts the Bahamian people by undermining our democracy. We know that if properly implemented, this bill could bring about major anti-corruption reform in the Bahamas. We applaud the functions of the bill that gives space, and I really like this part, for the public to be engaged and educated on what opportunities are available to them. Education is key. Knowledge is power. And we also agree with the term limits of office. This person can only serve for a certain period of time, and then we roll it over to the next person. Mr. Deputy, governments are continuous. So while we are in support of the way forward movement of the bill, we also want to make sure it is done right the first time. As a result, I have just a few concerns with the current form of the bill compared to the two previously versions we've seen in these chambers. My first observation is that we must ensure that the body is truly independent. Given that the body will be appointed and not elected, there's a questionably gray area. Will the Ombudsman be truly independent? Is my question. Mr. Deputy, again, I have no issue with the committee making the recommendations, save for the fact that the person has to be a lawyer, not someone with access to legal minds, but must be a lawyer, practicing for more than 10 years, and qualified to act as a Supreme Judge. Why is this the case? Why must he be a lawyer? That's my question. Don't we have other bright-minded individuals who have access to a legal team that can act as an ombudsman? If the person is obviously a seasoned lawyer, and we are talking about transparency, integrity, and accountability, why isn't, this is another question that I have, why isn't a person from the Ethics Committee of the Bar Association on the committee? We have Chamber of Commerce. We have other social groups. Why isn't someone from the Ethics Committee of the Bar Association? Because obviously, this person will be a member of the bar. My question, I believe we need to have a second look at this, or consider someone from the Bar Association Ethics Committee serving on this authority. Mr. Deputy, we must do everything to avoid the abuse of this office by anyone. This may be irrational. There may be some lawyers who may just go after some human rights issues and just make a nuisance of this office. to the detriment of our country. And lastly, Mr. Deputy, we hope that even though the Ombudsman is given up to 90 days to submit their report after a decision is made, I'm hoping that they won't take the full 90 days, but will be expeditious in the delivery of their report. And also, is this 90 working days or 90 calendar days? Because, we can stretch things out. So again, I would like to get clarification on that. Mr. Deputy and colleagues, we want to make the Bahamas a better place to live. We want to improve the ease of doing business in this, and we believe this is the best path. Mr. Deputy, colleagues, I'll briefly return to my portfolio as Shadow Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture. I see Garden Hills is over there.
See what you have to say.
No, I don't hit him too hard. Before I take my seat, Mr. Deputy, I want to offer special congratulations. And you talk about Garden Hill, and I hope you don't get upset. To the Saxon Superstars for winning.
I thought your speech was finished now.
For winning both the Boxing Day and the New Year's Day Junkanoo parades in Nassau. Congratulations to the group. And also to the 6-time consecutive reigning champion in Grand Bahama, the Great Platinum Knights. 6 straight. We have one major group. No, we have all groups. There's 6 titles. And as we're talking, seriously though, as we're talking about crime and our fight against crime, we must commend these Junkanoo leaders, these groups. They put in a lot of community work, and we are honoring Hawk tomorrow, this weekend in Freeport, Williams. These group leaders, they do a great job at keeping these kids off the streets. Young men and women, they engage in Junkanoo, and I'm happy to hear the Minister of Education said earlier today that Junkanoo is going to become a part of our curriculum. And congratulations on making Junkanoo a part of our indelible cultural heritage. We need to recognize the power that we have at engaging these young individuals. Transfer the energy in the shacks, in the classroom. That could be a part of our strategy in the fight against crime. Encourage these leaders to bring in more community effort in the Junkanoo shack where they will be interested, where they will be fully engaged. Something for us to consider. And again, as I said earlier, I hope that this is the year when the Great Platinum Knights will be afforded the opportunity to come to Nassau to participate either in Boxing Day or New Year's to give one of these A group categories over here some hiccups. Because we can raise some hell in Nassau. Just bring them over. Bring them over. We going to the top. All we have to do is bring them over and let's see.
That's a solid A group. Solid A group.
Exactly.
Solid A group.
And I also want to offer my congratulations to all local and international athletes on the various successes in sports. And Mr. Deputy and colleagues, I want to say special thank you to Mr. Glenn Pratt and the administrative members of the Bahamas Golf Federation, and also to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Cultural Sports Tourism Department, who recently offered me the privilege of playing golf alongside the #1 golfer in the country in Exuma, Mr. Devon Robinson, on the Corn Ferry Tour. We played in that tournament, and we finished 5 under par. We didn't win, but it was a great score. 5 under par. Oh, my handicap was in the low digits, low double digits. And then I had a chance to participate this past weekend in Abaco, in Winding Bay. In Exuma, we went 5 under par. In Abaco, we went an amazing 21 under par. And that was amazing. But we finished, we were in the top 3. But there's some team won with 25 under. But again, pardon? He did not get the card, but he's close. He qualified for the Houston Open that's coming up shortly. And Mr. Member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador, I'm glad you're interested. You said that, and also the Garden Hills. We have an issue with these athletes receiving proper funding. I was made to understand that you assisted, and the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture assisted him to bring in Cameron Riley from Orlando to be his caddy. But again, as a former world-class athlete, I know what it is to be training and be distracted by not having the funding in place. You should just focus on training and performing. So it's good when the government and other corporate partners can come in and provide the funding where we only have to worry about performance. And at the end of the day, the best effort will be realized. So I appreciate the fact that efforts are being made to support persons like Devon and Cameron and others. And while we are engulfing, fellow colleagues, Mr. Deputy, let me briefly again talk about great Bahamians like Fred Popal, who was the first black president of the United States Golf Association. 150 years of existence, the first black president, he's a Bahamian. He is boasting a membership of some 700,000 individuals who have to call him Mr. President, more than double our population. But see, my issue is this. While we are great on the international scene, I still ask the question. We're talking about Bahamianization. Why is it that we do not have one Bahamian as a Gulf director at any of our facilities in the Bahamas? Go to Albany, go to Bakers Bay, go to Winding Bay, go to Grand. There's not one Bahamian Gulf director. How is it that a Bahamian can be in charge of 700,000 members globally? And we have many qualified Bahamians in this country, and not one is a Gulf director at any of our facilities. We need to seriously have a look at that. We need to fix that. We want to see our people empowered in top positions all across the country. At the end of the day, this is what true Bahamianization should look like. A Bahamas for Bahamians where our skilled and trained professionals are valued. A Bahamas for Bahamians where a person like, I can say it again, Dr. Ian Strong can be the president of the University of the Bahamas. That is what Bahamians want. That is what Bahamians deserve. That is what Bahamians should get. As always, we understand from this side that government are continuous. The official opposition is always here to provide bipartisan support for this New Day governing party. If only you would listen and accept. Central Grand Bahama hereby rests. Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, Honorable Member. As many